Hello YouTube, I'm Zach, you're watching ZakDTV. This is your spot for interesting news from around the net. Remember, if you like what I do, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Now enough of the sub-whoring, let's get right into this. For today's stories, I'm going to talk about legislation being passed to get rid of safe zones on college campuses, Philadelphia DA corruption investigation, NHL backing out of the Olympics, Joe Piscopo is running for governor, and a cooler full of weed. Why not wrap it up that way? We're going to start in Colorado, where their House of Representatives have passed a bill that will eliminate free speech zones from college campuses throughout the state. Kentucky just did one of these bills last week. If you don't know, a free speech zone is a place designated for protest or speaking your mind. And basically this just turns the whole college campus into a safe space where you're not allowed to share your thoughts and opinions with other people because it might hurt their sensibility. 1 in 6 top colleges throughout the United States have safe zones set up where you are allowed to protest. These campuses include all the Cal State, Penn State, University of California, and Texas A&M, as well as 50 other campuses in the United States. What comes along with these is that you have to pre-register to get your time there, sometimes up to 10 days in advance. You're also allowed only a limited time in the space and allowed to protest there once every so many weeks. As well as these being designated areas, usually stuck off to the side, away from the rest of the students so people don't have to hear your message. In 2012, a federal ruling against the University of Cincinnati stated that these free speech zones were illegal. They actually stopped freedom of speech, the First Amendment. In a lawsuit brought by students against Texas Tech, it was stated by a judge that to the extent that a campus has park areas, sidewalks, streets, or other similar common areas, these are public forums, at least for the university students, irrespective of whether the university has so designated them or not. You might ask, Zach, why does this bother you? And I'll have to tell you that these are called free speech zones and you are allowed to express your opinion in them. However, they're usually tucked away from the main student body. They're also timed, so you only have X amount of time to present your opinion. And being as such that they're so far away, your message isn't getting to anyone. So that doesn't allow for an environment where people can debate or learn from what you're saying, or maybe teach you something new on your point of view. To sum it up well, the Democratic representative from Colorado, Jeff Bridges, not the same Jeff Bridges, but he said that we've become too comfortable these days getting our news from people we already agree with. We silence those we disagree with either by tuning them out or by marginalizing them. And that's why I agree with this legislation, because it would be a step in the right direction to getting these college kids out of their little bubble that they seem to be living in right now. And hopefully it would help them understand that in the real world, people do have different points of view. And people do have different opinions. And you have to learn to accept that they may think differently than you and not riot or do whatever the hell else you want to do. So maybe this will show them that instead of shouting people down or minimizing their opinions and calling them stuff like Nazis or libtards or whatever side you don't agree with, maybe you can learn to respect someone else and respect their philosophy. And maybe this will show them too in the real world that behavior like this is not acceptable. I don't know. Let me know what you think of this situation. Leave a message in the comments below. We could further this discussion there. Next up, I want to talk about a pretty big scumbag here. His name is Seth Williams, and up until yesterday, he was a district attorney for all of Philadelphia. That's a huge position. He has been indicted on charges of bribery, extortion, and honest service fraud. Now, honest service fraud is when you're lying to people or not doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I know the term kind of messed with me a little bit. Now, the charges stem from him receiving tens of thousands of dollars, a trip to the Dominican Republic, custom furniture, and a 1997 Jaguar. You think he'd have better choice in a car. I mean, a 97, really? Not that great of a collector's item. He is also known to have taken $160,000 in what they consider gifts, and he was fined for not properly disclosing those gifts, $62,000. So he still made $100,000 out of it. Now, in return for these favors, he helped a businessman come back into the country from foreign travel without being searched. Who knows why that was so important to the guy, but, you know, he brought something in. He also kept another business owner out of jail. He even made another guy a special advisor in his office, even though he was on federal probation for tax fraud. I know this is just Philadelphia news, it doesn't affect the whole world, but it made me really think that one of the largest prosecutors in the United States is a corrupt bastard. Can you imagine how many people's lives he ruined because he was asked to? Or how many people didn't get the punishment they're supposed to because he was paid? Watch out, people. This happens everywhere. I live in Luzerne County, actually, and we had that whole Kids for Cash scandal going on. It can happen anywhere to anybody. Keep an eye on your politicians. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'll tell you what, today seems to be a day that's got all sorts of trouble and news in it. Looks like we're not going to have a hockey team in next year's Winter Olympics. According to the NHL's commissioner, Gary Bettman, all talks with the International Olympic Committee have stopped. There are no ongoing negotiations to get us into next year's Olympic Games. The reason for not going is it's going to interrupt 2.5 weeks of the hockey season, so they won't get paid. They said they will not go unless they get treated like a top sponsor, being able to broadcast the Olympics and put it on all their sites and everything. The NHL also wants the IOC to pay for the players' insurance as well. Basically, they don't want to take a hit to their profit in order to go participate in the Olympic Games. Bettman stated that the point is, I was trying to emphasize the fact that this is terribly disruptive to our business. If they don't value our participation, why are we going? The reason you go to the Olympics is to represent your country on an international forum. It's a privilege to be invited to the Olympics, not something they should have to pay you to go to. I can't believe the greed is so rampant in the NHL. Now, I know it's a business. I know they're in it to make money. At the same time, once every 4 years, you're invited to go participate in a worldwide event. You suck it up and you go. They make billions of dollars a year anyway. Why not just do it? To me, it's kind of a sad day in sports. Looks like there's no miracle on ice this year. I had a lot of political stuff in my stories today. Like, I want to talk to you now about Joe Piscopo. Joe Piscopo, he's a comedian from back in the day. Was known for being on Saturday Night Live. I guess he used to play Frank Sinatra on Saturday Night Live. Other than that, I looked through his IMDb page and stuff. Really not known for anything. I watched a little bit of his stand-up. It's 80s stand-up, you know. Well, he's going for it now. He wants to be governor of New Jersey. That's right. He's going to go head-to-head with Chris Christie. He wants to register as an independent and fight it out to become governor of New Jersey. Now, this isn't the first time that an actor or celebrity has become a politician. We have things like Jesse Ventura, Al Franken, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronald Reagan, and even Donald Trump. So it's not out of whack for him to do this. The thing that caught me as interesting is he's going to run independent. He believes that there's so much distrust right now in our government and the Democrat and Republican parties, he's better off going independent. Independents don't usually win these things, but you know what? If there's ever a year you could, I bet you this is the year. And finally, I want to talk to you about a donation made to Goodwill in Washington. I believe in Goodwill. I think it's great to donate your old clothes there. Heck, I even shop there sometimes. Why not? Some nice stuff. I would have loved to pick up this purchase, though. They found a cooler with 5 big old bags of weed in it. You heard me right. 5 bags of weed, 60 ounces were found in a cooler that was donated to them. They don't know which donation center it came into. They have 2 different locations that take donations. Now, it's not a big deal. Weed is illegal in Washington, except you're only allowed to own an ounce at a time. This is 60 times that amount, so police were called in. They're looking for the person who donated this. I guess there's a thing on social media where a bunch of people are claiming responsibility for it because everybody wants the weed. But as of right now, they haven't found anybody, and the weed's just sitting in police lockup waiting for their yearly burn. It's a sad day. And with that, it's going to wrap it up for the day. Remember, if you like what I do, share it with your friends. Get me out there. Every bit of exposure helps. And I'm here Monday through Friday. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. So I'll see you tomorrow. Be safe.